Alright, let's do this. This is going to be a video sort of demonstrating how much of the game is working now as opposed to how much was working before. So I can't remember exactly what was in the last video of this, but now I've got this wonderful title and all the buttons, they all look really sharp and nice and stuff now, which is much better than the stuff I was using. But the main thing now is that this level select screen is, to all intents and purposes, complete with the exception of music. But look, I can click each of these sort of level icons, and background to represent the level will sort of come up there, and that's the actual background of the level when you're playing the game. And some flavour text will come up as well. I've got all that set up, and then I actually have this area sort of working. This is where the player will edit their ship and the sort of parts that are on it. I haven't put anything sort of to do that here yet because I need the rest of the game to do the balancing, and that's the only point at which this will come into play. So I want to get the rest of the game done first, and then that'll be one of the last things I do. But if I click play level, this is a cinematic which I know will have been in the previous one. I literally just downloaded Photoshop today as well, and I'll get rid of all the sort of halos around these guys. So, yes, you can see my ridiculous laser beam. This is a weapon that I'm still working on. It's going to flash when it's done, but yeah. There's that. There's the level done. The levels are really short simply because I'm in a testing phase. I don't need to fight 50 enemies when I can test it on 2 or 1. So yeah, there's that level, and then I've got this one as well, which is pretty much the same. So I've got this sort of entering cinematic. Need to fix that tannoy. It's beginning to get annoying. It actually looks quite cool as well, and I just realised that the only people that have seen it are me and the guy who actually created it. Actually, I think Disney was a she, he. Pretty sure it was a woman actually. My mistake. Yeah, they're sort of getting to the point where they've got a distress signal from this planet, and your character, the pilot, who's the guy on the right, is going to try and find the person who's down here to sort of rescue them and then interrogate them because they're apparently a member of the enemy faction. There's a little seam there which I need to get rid of. It's 1 pixel, just one. I just need to delete the whole thing. That'll be it done, but. And there's an enemy in the top right corner. But I also need to fix the fact that I can just leave the laser beam behind. I'm pretty sure that will actually destroy enemies as well, which would be kind of broken. I also have another weapon, which I haven't got here yet because it's not set up correctly to damage any enemies it did. And especially since that enemy up there doesn't move, it'd be impossible to win the level with that weapon active. Whereas on the first one, the enemies can just sort of go off the screen and then it's over. But if I destroy this one, and I have a different background for this one. There are actually sort of several backgrounds, it's just that the story up to this point has only been in that corridor on the Olympus. And this is perhaps my favourite character. His name is Darwin. He is he's from an enemy faction called the Deadwater. And it's all the black that he's wearing, because his guys are supposed to be evil. I'm not sure about the names for these people. Deadwater I can live with. Cerise Alliance sound a bit French, and I'm probably going to change that. Yeah, poor Darwin, he's got a headache, and he passes out. But yeah, that's what I have of the game thus far. I actually have music for, I think, the first 5 levels and the 8th one. I'm waiting for those second 2. I'm literally just given the songs, and then I say, well, I want to stick it on that one. And there will also be music for the level select screen, the modify ship screen, and so on and so forth. I also need to figure out the thing which means that actually comes up just when the screen loads. And also there's a little tiny flicker every time that swaps over. And I don't understand why it's there. Still, anyway. So yes, that's those are the working parts of the game. I still have code for things like more weapons. So there's the bullet one that was in the previous video, the laser beam in this video. There's 2 other weapons. There's a homing weapon, and there is a weapon which shoots some shots which will sort of go into an arc in front of the player, stop for a bit, and then carry on forward. The idea being to sort of create a wall of fire in front of the player that enemy ships will sort of destroy themselves on if it's done right. It'll also allow the player to sort of almost like leaving traps, but over a very, very short period of time, sort of across the level. I don't know, I'll figure out the balancing and see how it all works. Then I also have some medium-sized enemies. I have the imaging for the bosses, which I really need to get to work on because those are going to be so much fun. The man who designed those is a genius. What else is there? There's the actual sort of modify ship stuff, of which there's quite a bit to actually put into that area of the game. And then there is the cinematics for the rest of these. Because I have all the sort of script that the game reads from, and the characters and the background. What I don't have are the 3 little enemies which are required for each level to be able to run. Because what happens is when I load up the game and load up a level, the level loads up some images for those enemies, but those images only exist for the first 2 levels. So when I try to load up some of these, it'll crash, which I'm not going to do because I'm not sure how that'll work with fraps. But yeah, I've got all these levels and stuff. I can't wait till this is all done. It's accelerating really quickly now as well because I've got almost all of the material I need. It's just a matter of me going through a couple of things with Photoshop to get rid of those halos around it, which it is quite literally the work of about 10 minutes. I just have yet to get around to it because like I said, a lot of this was in pieces and it wasn't able to work. It was at the stage where I have a lot of code, but it's a lot of code that causes the game to crash on loading. Anyway, I'm yammering, so I shall stop here. So I hope that this looks good for thus far, and hopefully I'll have a much more developed video to release soon.